Good to have you, Wolfgang.
Yeah, bud. Good to be here.
It's good to see
Good
you
to be
again.
back.
You've been home in America for, was it 3 months?
Yeah, I went home for 3 months. I got back out here, got back out to Donbas on my birthday, early August.
It's
Spent 30 years old, first day at the front.
nice. I remember my first birthday here. I got my first 200. So that was, and I got to have ice cream. Yeah. Ukraine's great. You know, I've never been to war before, but you're a Marine, and you've been to Iraq and Afghanistan?
Just Afghanistan, not Iraq. But that's not anything like out here.
No.
So I'd say this is taking everybody's virginity.
No, but we had a burger tonight, and we had a good burger, and you can drive 40 minutes down the road, and you can go kill a Russian or get killed by a Russian.
That was definitely eye-opening when I first showed up to country, and we were at this concrete factory outside of Bakhmut for the longest time, and you could drive just up the road to Prashib, I think it was, and get pizza. And so we'd go out on patrol, hit Russian lines, kill a couple guys in the trenches, pull back under artillery fire, sit in the friendly trenches for like an hour before patrolling back to the concrete factory. And by the time we got back, they would send a runner out. As we were coming back from the Yuki trenches, they would send a runner out to go get pizza, so that right when we got back, we'd have a nice hot pizza party.
How many MREs do you think you've eaten in the war?
Maybe 20.
Yeah. It's,
I go to the grocery store and I bring out my own goodies,
I remember there was, I just called it the Javelin House, because there was like a fuck ton of javelins down on the Zaporizhia line.
Yeah.
And they had American MREs, and they had Canadian ones. And I was in the Canadian Army, and I've not been in for many, many years. I was like, ooh, how have they evolved? And it's like, ooh, that's a new meal on the menu. But they're not really a thing anymore. Like, you don't, I remember at the first of the war, they were a novelty.
Yeah.
And nobody's really rocking MREs.
No,
I mean they're
there's no
everywhere,
reason to
but
when you can go buy fresh food.
yeah,
and like Ukrainian logistics. I mean, even the grocery stores a half hour away from the front, are stocked full. It was. I remember last time I was out here in Bakhmut, the grocery store here in Kramatorsk had less fresh food and vegetables than the one closer to Bakhmut.
Mm.
The one in Bakhmut was fucking loaded, so we'd stop, or the one, just outside, right?
yeah.
That one was loaded, and so we'd always go there before and after a mission on the way home.
See, before you even got here to this AO, you guys were in Kharkiv before
Yeah, I was in Kharkiv when I first got to country.
Yeah.
After the Kharkiv offensive, I moved down to Mykolaiv, and then after the Kherson offensive, they gave us a team, and we moved out to Bakhmut. And we've been in Bakhmut for a year now.
I've seen the progression of that town. Like last summer, we're going to the market and buying like strawberries and fresh shit and like stuff for your phone, and our mortars are going out behind.
Yeah.
And one day, a 155 hits in the middle of the market, but that was it. Market's still running. By October, everything's shut, but there's still the shawarma shop facing towards the Russian side, and you can get a shawarma. And then by the hospital, the corner up by the hospital, there was the corner shop that was open till maybe December or January. Like that bitch held on to the bitter end.
Did you ever see the shawarma food truck that was driving around?
No.
No, this guy, he was like, we called him the hero of Bakhmut, because this dude would roll up to like the zero line in a fucking shawarma food truck and just be serving the guys at the front, man. Yeah, I think he ended up getting whacked, because he, for like 3 months he was driving around, and then one day we just didn't see him anymore.
No, that would have smelled good.
Yeah.
So you come from Virginia, right?
I'm gonna give you a fucking confession. I was actually born and raised in California. I claim.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I claim Virginia, and now I claim Tennessee, because that's where all my family's at.
So how did that all happen? The family moved there, or they?
Yeah, the family moved there. California's gone to hell in a handbasket. So between the taxes and just, I mean, I owned a house out there, and the taxes are through the roof. You got to deal with an HOA and stuff. One of the things that really made me want to stop owning a home in California was when, you know, my grass in the front yard was kind of crummy, right? You know, you know, we had weeds, small little things, and so I said, okay, I'm gonna put in new sand and re-level everything, right? And I'm gonna put in a bunch of you know, fertilizer and, you know, mixed with horse manure and stuff, and really bring this lawn back to life. Now it's gonna look a little crummy for a week or so, right? Well, because it's gonna be covered in basically cow shit and horse shit, you know. And the HOA within 3 days gave me a little letter, a nastygram, saying I needed to fix my lawn. I'm like, that's what I'm doing, you fuck ass.
Homeowners Association, some old lady, like probably like a Karen.
Yeah.
With another group of Karens.
And you don't gotta deal with that when you're out in the middle of fuck nowhere, Tennessee. You know, my brother and sister have a nice, you know, they got a lot of acreage right on a lake. Nobody tells you what to do. We got a rifle range in the backyard. I practice my pistol shooting with, you know, my nieces who are like 10 and 12. And, you know, we go kayaking on a lake. Like, why the fuck would I stay in California?
I would have loved to have seen that when I was in Florida if I had more time, because you messaged me.
Yeah.
How old were you when you joined the Marines?
I was...
Why did you want to join the Marines? You got a history, family?
Yeah. I was 19 when I joined. My dad was the first Marine in my family, but just about every male, at least one male from every generation going back for like 1,000 years has been in the military of some sort. So it's just kind of like, is what we do. I never thought, part of why I joined was, you know, I never thought I'd really get my dad's respect if I didn't join. You know, he's a Nam-era Marine, you know, hard ass. So I kind of had to go do the same thing.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, and I always wanted to be a Marine ever since I was a little kid. I'd go to like Knights of Columbus meetings with my dad and stuff, and I was a member of the Squires, and like there were a bunch of old vets there too. When I was a kid, there was one guy who was an Army Ranger, and he actually did the Panama mission, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Noriega, like.
Yeah. So I was, you know, ever since I was a kid, I was hanging out with all these like old veterans and warriors that had been there, done that, and you know, so that's just kind of how I ended up. Yeah.
So, were you on the East Coast or the West Coast?
I was West Coast, Hollywood, which, you know, my dad gives me shit about because he joined from, he lived in Florida when he joined the Marine Corps, so he went to Lejeune.
Okay.
And I ended up going to San Diego.
I see, I don't know much about the American military. I just pick up bits and bobs from podcasts and the movies and Gunny Hartman.
Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
I will motivate you, Private Pile. Probably one of the reasons I want to join the army.
I had
because
one
of
of
him.
the nastiest fucking Sergeant Mansfield. I hope you're watching this. I'll never forget you. This is the motherfucker.
Yeah.
All right, like this guy got blown up by an IED. Like half his face is chewed up. You know.
Oh, and you're a young recruit.
And you're a young recruit just looking at this big of a man that's all chewed up, and you're just like, fuck. And with a name like Mansfield, he really lived up to it. There was one time in boot camp where they were trying to stress like why you need to be loud and everything, right? And they took a GoPro footage from one of their buddies who ended up dying on a deployment, and it was the guy's GoPro, and he got shot in the chest on the side of this mountain. He's trying to call for help, but because he got round through his fucking lung, he can't scream too loud, and so they played this on loop the entire night of this guy screaming for help, and slowly his lung is collapsing and he's bleeding out and dying, and they just had that on fucking loop. Yeah. Because they couldn't hit us anymore, which was severely disappointing. I found, you know, after being raised, I learned how to do drywalling because of my dad. So like when I got to boot camp, I was expecting to get my ass beat, and they never hit me once, and I was so disappointed. By like third phase, you know, it's getting close to the crucible, and I'm like, when's somebody gonna pop me in the face, dude?
You should join the British Army. But they, like, our sergeants are saying, yeah, it used to be, they used to hit you, but they'd only hit us. They get you in the push-up position. It's like, what football team do you support? And he's like, Chelsea. Fuck you, you can't. Like, and give him a good beating, you know. But
yeah.
it wasn't for punishment. It was for morale. It was morale beatings, you know.
Dude, the beatings will continue until morale improves.
Until morale improves. How long did you do in the Marines?
I did 5 years.
What did you do in the Marines? What was your role? I've got a new respect for Marines, by the way. I'll tell you that later.
Yeah, I did signals intelligence, so it was pretty good. Nerd kind of shit. Kind of.
So in a force of 80,000, somebody determined that you weren't stupid.
Oh no, I'm still a fucking idiot. I'm just smarter than the average Marine.
Okay.
But that still isn't saying much in the grand scheme of things.
You can do more than load a vending machine.
I know which crayons taste good. That's what it is.
Right. So, I'm kind of curious. When did you come here? What was your day? Mine's March 16th.
Yeah. January, February, March, April. It was May.
You were here in May.
Yeah.
So when Zelensky asked for help and all that, and this looked like the beginning of World War III, did you know right away, and you just had to start making plans, or like what was the logistics and personal life of how to get here?
So I was I just moved to Virginia like a year prior to the war starting, and I ended up just grabbing the first job I could when I first got out there, and that I worked that for a while, and then I got bored. Really, is what it was. So I was doing a new looking into a new career field. I was going to get into the fiber optic stuff, and when the war started, I was actually in Georgia at one of these little courses, learning how to like build the networks, right? So we were learning how to splice and stuff, but I was also getting the certification in like the network engineering side.
Yes.
And that's when I kind of, it was on my mind, but I had a woman at the time, and I felt strongly enough about the relationship that I didn't want to go just yet. When it became evident that, the relationship wasn't going to work out, I said, fuck it. And, one day I went to church, I prayed, felt like somebody hit me in the chest. I just asked for direction. Felt like somebody hit me in the chest, and I got like tingles in my hands and feet. And I knew what I needed to do. So I went home, reached out to old friends and contacts, and I actually happened to know a prior Navy SEAL that was out here, and he hooked me up with some good guys. So I already had like a path. Before I got over here, I already had a team I was going to go with and everything else like that. So I got into country, and within a week I was at the front lines with a gun assaulting Russian trenches.
That was you straight into the Legion?
Yeah.
Into Kharkiv?
It was straight into Kharkiv, yeah. At that concrete factory outside Bakhmut. We were there for like, I think 3 months or something like that.
I can't even relate to that because it's like everybody's is a different war. If you were in Zaporizhia line last year, different than this year.
Yeah.
If you're Mykolaiv, which is now Kherson, if you were in Donbas, it's different everywhere. It's very, very, very different. We can edit it around.
Be Ethan.
It's okay. We can edit it around.
Okay. Yeah. 1 second. Hey, babe. Yo.
Where the fuck you at?
He's sucking my dick.
Are you all wrapped up over there?
Yeah, I've been waiting for a little while now.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Give us 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Is that all right?
Right.
I'm sorry, babe. Talk to you soon.
Because I'm gonna edit out of this. Can we talk about Gur, or is it just the Legion?
Just the Legion.
Just the Legion.
Yeah.
That's cool. So when Kharkiv wrapped up, were you part of the Kharkiv offensive that we all talk, that's been ever so touted in the news?
Yeah, we were part of it. I actually have on my Instagram a little thing where, because like a couple weeks prior to that, we had done a little poking mission, and they were talking about how they had heard Westerners talking and stuff, and like, yeah, we were shouting, and they definitely heard us in English. And some dude posted on Twitter at the time, Russian forces scared because of, Western forces are in the area and stuff, and it was, I don't know. I like to stay humble. I think that they, think too highly of us. We're just a bunch of guys just like everybody else is. At the end of the day, this war is just everyone's infantry, regardless of what your, how much training you have or anything. Artillery does most of the work.
see, there was a lot of, in the media, it was played out as a masterstroke, but Ukraine did a brilliant job with their counterintelligence. When I was in Texas, the guy who put me through my paces on my shooting, he was in an SSO unit. He was also in hospitalers, and then he went to SSO, and they were doing a lot of recce work, and then they were stood down. No, it's all been cancelled because one guy on the team died, and it's like, yeah, it's all been cancelled, and they sent them back to Kiev.
Yeah.
And he just looked at that for what it was. It's like, yeah, we did it. We did our part of a beautiful job, you know, and that was his part.
Yeah.
Because I only talk about what I know, or people that I know and trust what they tell me.
Yeah.
And that was his part in Kharkiv.
I mean, yeah, you know, I've heard it referred to as a thunder run, and I'm with you. You know, I'm not gonna speak to anybody's experience other than my own.
You're not delusional.
I'm not. Well, I don't pay attention to any of those guys either. I pay attention to what's right in front of me.
Yeah.
You know, and my view on the whole Kharkiv offensive thing was that it was it was a piece of cake. Like, they hardly put up a fight. I remember as soon as the artillery, like, I was watching on drones, as soon as the artillery lifted, they were bailing out of their trenches, running away, leaving guys behind and shit. Like, it was, you know, partly it was, yeah, Ukraine did a great job, you know, prepping the position, getting everybody where they needed to go, but it was also kind of a cakewalk because the Russians just kind of up and fucked off.
Yep.
We couldn't chase them fast enough.
That's one thing about them. They'll put up a fight, but when it's time to go, it's time. Like, it was the same in Le Mans.
Yeah.
When they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah.
And I collected for the fundraisers all around Le Mans region uniforms, DPR uniforms, because those guys, I didn't know, because I'm not a sick fuck, I didn't know that the ones with blood were worth the most money to, like, people who've never been in a war before, and they think that's cool.
Yeah.
But I was just picking up all the DPR stuff, and we were selling it as Russian because that's cool, because there was no blood. They just stripped off and ran, and I'm talking like platoon levels.
Yeah.
I'd find piles of clothes, no mines, no IEDs, just time to go.
That's exactly the thing too, is, you know, the Russians tried spinning this, saying, oh, you know, it was a pre-planned fallback, you know, we didn't want that land anyway. They kept, you know, they always do these excuses. In no way was it pre-planned. That was a full-on route.
Hasty retreat.
Like, hasty retreat. They didn't mine anything. They left behind so much gear and equipment and tanks. Dude, there was one unit that looted a flippin' helicopter.
Like, that's... See, I wonder about that, and it's good I hear that from you, because I'm familiar how the internet world works, because I'm part of it now, and there's a lot of guys like you that I know who won't be on the camera, you know, for whatever reason. And I always wondered, because I wasn't there, are we just, like, because you listed the Western news channels as like, we're always winning, Russia's stupid. So I wonder, are they taking pictures of the same 10 tanks? Do you know what I mean? Like, look at what we did in Kharkiv.
There's a really great organization. I forget the name of it right now off the top of my head. But there's an organization that does just that. They take all the open source pictures, and then they actually count, you know, which ones are which and which ones are just repeats.
Yeah.
Western media does recycle photos. Actually, the interview I did with the New York Times back in like December, they just reused one of the photos from that in a paper today.
Okay, well, legally they own it, so they can do whatever.
Yeah,
they want.
no, I just, you know, we're on the subject of reusing photos.
But they always do that.
Yeah, it was a great photo, I'll tell you. I don't know if you've seen my. Have you seen
Is it the one with with the blood coming down your face?
No. New York Times, we didn't allow them to have anything with our face in it. And that one's just that's a personal thing.
Yeah.
But no, it's like from inside Bakhmut, the horizon's on fire from, they took the photo the night that we were smashing a fucking Russian artillery position. So we took out like 8 howitzers in a night, and everything's burning in the background. It's a pretty good picture.
Nice. So when Kharkiv's wrapped up, you didn't come here right away. There would have been some time in between.
Yeah. Like you said, I went down to Mykolaiv for a little while.
Yeah.
I was working on a project down there, and then after the offensive, that project was essentially didn't even happen anymore. So yeah, and that's when I got asked to start the team up So we got some guys together. We got, the team started, and then we came out here.
And can we talk a bit about drones?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know what I can ask or what not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I'm pretty good at playing an idiot, but I don't know a lot of stuff. Like I gave you the new claw, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Those are pretty cool. Those are actually pretty, as simple as that is. That's a pretty cool little tool. Yeah. I don't know if you've had a few of them.
No, that's the first that we'll have for the claw. Yeah.
Nice. I can get you more. They're not expensive. Because we first met in, I think it would have been December.
Yeah, it was
January.
It was right around Christmas.
And I was told to come meet some guys and bring them. It was when I first started fundraising for radios, and you guys actually got my first 7 radios that was the new project.
Mm-hmm.
And then we all
those are the ones that went to the squadron.
Yep. There was 7 of them, and you and our other good friend, Asian American nerd. They're pretty smart, them Asian Americans, by the way. But yeah, we became friends, and right around that time, we sat down and had a few chats and maybe even a heart to heart one day, and pretty much after that, with the exception of 2 times, I never did a civilian evacuation ever again.
Yeah, I do remember you caught me at a kind of a good time, because I had sent all the boys home on leave while I kept working. And so you showed up when I had the house to myself, and I was all lonely. I was working all day with a bunch of people I didn't speak their fucking language. And I'd come home and I'd be lonely, just me and the dog.
Yeah, no. See what happened. It all started. The first 2 guys, I didn't know Chris. I knew Andrew, and we went into Soledar to maybe get their bodies. But we made it to the last position north of the salt line, and we weren't gonna get them.
Wasn't happening.
And 46th Brigade, God bless them. Well, there's the drone position. You guys wouldn't bring this coffee and cigarettes, and they were giving us 10 decks of smokes to bring up to the boys, and it's because we rather not, and it kind of seemed like the futility, and I was using all my money, because I can fill in whatever the fuck I want with civilian work, and I was buying generators for Army Medical, and then it became offensive units for whoever needed a generator.
Yeah.
And I never believed in the efficacy, and I say this not unapologetically, of a young, mostly foreigners who were backing up a Ukrainian, go-getters, risking their life for a geriatric who had a year to leave. But it was getting so much money for Army Medical. I was like, it's a good thing, and it's doing a very good thing. But, from when those guys died, and we were in quite close contact then, and you helped me with a few things in the background. Between then and when Pete Reed died, would have been around February 2nd, I think.
Yeah.
10 foreigners died in the Bakhmut AO.
Yeah.
And they were all doing stupid things. They were bringing water and food to people who didn't want to leave, who already had 50 boxes of World Central Kitchen.
Well,
I don't want to disrespect them, but that's the truth. That's the goddamn truth.
So, there was one situation that I had where, we were working outside of a town, and another, it's funny how everything works in Ukraine. A guy I knew a girl whose family was in that town, right?
Yeah. I remember. We had a talk.
Yeah, and she wanted us to get them out, and they didn't want to leave, and so at a certain point, if they're too stubborn when artillery's going off and leveling half the buildings, they stayed. They finally evacuated a couple months back, but it wasn't until the second story of their house was blown off. It was, and their barn had been blown up.
I can remember right now the exact of the map. That was north side, West Bakhmut, the north side. Yeah. I remember the map.
Yeah.
I called Iggy, and he sent Artem. You called me. I called someone who called someone else who went to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
they even made a video for them. The family showed a video that girl saying please leave.
I've got a picture of me with them as well, because they me and my Turp and I rather, we went out there. to try and talk them into it too, you know, and they just would not fucking leave, man. You know, that's at a certain point, everybody, you know, you got free will, free agency, you know, if that's their decision, that's their decision. I agree with you that, you know, it is a little silly to be running around trying to evacuate these people that just refuse to fucking leave. I mean, you know, I can understand your heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
But at a certain point.
But I had a main objective. I had a main objective to the action, like it, but if it wasn't for that, I would have given up a long time before.
Yeah.
I never did it again. Except for in Avdiivka, they were coming down, and when we moved there, I knew the area. And it's like, hey, Oleg, you want to go with my friend? We're going to get them, and you know what the army's like. It's very quiet till it's not. You know, there's planning, there's preparation, there's sitting, and we have a lot of days like that. But it seems like all these civilian volunteers, like the high speed ones, every day they're doing something. I don't know what good. Some days they do very good.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, I'll go on that. I'll go for a run into town with you.
Yeah. But
never again.
I would like to say, you know, especially since this is going up on the internet, you know, anybody who's trying to do humanitarian work should be getting with units every time that they want to go out and go somewhere. Get with a local unit and figure out what the safe routes are, you know, what the situation on the ground is like, if you're even going to be valuable trying to accomplish what you're doing. You know, I hate to say it, but if you go and you get yourself killed, injured, wounded, stuck somewhere, you're putting not just your life, but other people's lives at risk, because, you know, then we have to come and get you or help you out, you know. Just recently there was this humanitarian organization, that Spanish girl we were talking about, right? Emma. You know, they got hit, you know, by an ATGM, from what we, or a FPV
What's an ATGM for the
anti-tank guided missile.
There we go.
Either an ATGM or an FPV drone, I forget which. You know, and then, hey, now their vehicle's burned out in the middle of where the Russians can see it, and you know they're asking people to come out and help. I'm not saying anything bad against them. That's not what I'm trying to say. But if you do your research and you find the safe routes, you never get into that, or you have less of a chance of getting into that kind of position. I'm sure that they did their research. They were working really well with the unit that they were, you know, in that town. Sometimes these things just happen. There's nothing you can do about it. But I also have seen the flip side of these humanitarian organizations that don't do any of that groundwork beforehand. They get themselves into a shit position and they wound up with a bullet in the back of their head. You know, it's... Well,
there's a bad habit amongst all of them. And the truth is there was no Ukrainian or Russian speaker. And if you're working in certain areas like Lemonsky region, you can, if you're just delivering stuff and they know you're coming, or like a rough time, you can get away with that stuff. But if you're going into new areas or places you haven't been for 2-3 weeks, that's how a lot of people are dying without a Ukrainian or Russian speaker, going to places where they've been before. But I mean, the Ukrainian army is basically, when you're running evac routes and stuff, you stop on the side of the road when you see 2-3 guys smoking by a tank. You know, you have a chat with them. What's it like down there? They know or they don't know, but at least you stopped and asked.
And I remember also, like, when Bakhmut got shut down to humanitarians, there were still humanitarians that were like, oh, you know, we got to do our job still, and they were trying to get in and out. Again, you know, you don't realize the situation on the ground. That when that happened, that was because the road, the only good road in, the paved one at least, the Russians were about 200 meters from that fucking road, you know, and we were fighting every day trying to keep them at bay and retake ground. And humanitarians trying to go through that, you're running through a war zone, nobody's accounting for you, and we got this random fucking vehicle driving through. I understand you're trying to do the right thing, but you're just kind of getting in the fucking way at that point. You know,
I ain't got an answer to it.
If they say it's shut down, just stay out of the fucking way.
Basically.
I mean, even we in the military have to fucking stand by sometimes.
If army medics are not moving, because I've seen as the Western aid has come in, how the medical evacuation process has changed. If those guys are stable on the position, they can stay there till the BMP-1 comes up and brings the ammo that night. We're not risking a fully kitted out M113 with medics and a 50 cal gun, because it's if they're stable, they stay. So if army medics who we got business being there are not doing that anymore, depending on the situation, like Kremenal's different, the Forest, Yampol, you got to bring soft vehicles sometimes, even the Humvees are too big for those anyway, it doesn't matter. But generally, the medics, who it's their job to be there, aren't even there, because the order of evacuation, it's not worth the risk of, I'm sorry to say, but it's a lot easier to train a rifleman than it is a medic. It's a lot easier to look at a good FPV pilot. You know what I mean? They don't put them in stupid places, but civilians are going in gray zone.
Yeah. Well, there's a certain kind of sick math you gotta do in the military of like what's worth it and what's not worth it. You know, and you're talking evacuations, and we had a guy take shrap to the arm not too long ago. He walked his happy ass out. Mm-hmm. You know.
We did that through Klishkivka. There's like, oh, not sure about the tank there. There was a tank somewhere. No one knew where it was. One guy led them out, all concussions, all contusion. It was like 3 blind mice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But no vehicles moving beyond that mount. That's just the way that plays out.
Yeah.
But you went home for a while. You were here for a long time. You were here for probably 13 months. 12, 13 months?
Like that, yeah.
And you went home for 3 months.
Yeah.
What's that like? I told you what it's like for me.
Yeah.
For better or worse?
Yeah, it was nice. I was listening to artillery and gunfire on YouTube. There's this like 8-hour video segment, and I was playing that all throughout the night. It's like rain, artillery, and gunfire off in the distance, and that was helping me get to sleep. That worked, I did that for a couple weeks, and then I was pretty much fine. I kept myself busy. I built a chicken coop, refurbished my brother's deck. A bunch of pieces had rotten out, so I replaced all that. Spent some time with with my nieces. Went kayaking. Went on some dates with some. I had a good-looking redhead for a little while. Went to the country music festival. That was pretty dope.
Very nice.
In,
Well, that's nice for you. I know Johnny Cash. That's about it. But
to be honest, I wasn't paying too much attention to the music, so.
No. I shouldn't even tell this.
Time.
I used to work the events industry, and one year, Big Valley Jamboree in Alberta in Canada, and this one girl was coming around to me, and it was on. This was years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I'm packing up and I'm going for this. It's like, well, but I'm gonna miss Keith Urban. And I said to her, I said, well, you can see Keith Urban next year. I'm here today. I'm here right now.
That's a good line.
Yeah. But you're back now.
Yeah.
We if I can ask you, we both lost a mutual friend.
Yeah.
If it's all right, he was in your team. Mm-hmm. Sam Newey.
Yeah.
A lot of the English people will see only a few weeks ago in the media. When I came into Lviv, we all stayed in a safe house that was called the Secret Place. That was actually did Sam ever tell you the story about that place?
Might have.
We lived in a basement with like a shower that was a garden hose with one shitter, and there was like 50 guys that were like, yeah, we're going to join the Georgian Legion. Okay, no, we're not going to join the Georgian Legion. I don't know, Swampy was involved, like there was Reef, who was a high profile guy who got wounded, had a team, and they all came back, and Sam's the civvy boy from Birmingham, well, Solihull, and I know a lot of people there. We got on well, and it's like, what have you done? Have you been in the army? Nothing. No. My brother's been in Syria. It's like, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, I really like you. You know what I mean? Do this humanitarian stuff. Like if I had to pick a favorite, Sam was it.
Yeah.
And we lived in this shitty place that smelled like, but what it was a beauty parlor that went out of business. And it was actually written in English, The Secret Place. Like the sign was still up. And that's like a safe house. And I knew him for like a week and a half. We lived together, and it was just stupid back then. It's like, yeah, everybody, when you go out to the shops, put your phones on airplane mode when you come back within 500 meters, or we'll get a Russian missile. And it was all like that, and people were making these tinfoil packs for their phones. And it's like, are you going to Kiev? Oh, I don't know. I'm going here. But
I remember when everybody thought the fucking FSB was after him, and everyone was super fucking
It was SBU actually. There was loads of undercovers all over Lviv because they thought Russian infiltrators like at the beginning would be coming. This is what I've been told.
I never stopped in Lviv. I literally got on a train and went from fucking Krakow to Kiev, got on another train, went to Kharkiv. I didn't stop for shit, dude. When I say I was at the front line within a week, I was at the safe house in the amount of time it took me to get across the border into the safe house is how soon I was in the safe house. And I was at the front line within a week.
I didn't see my first blood for about 3.5 weeks.
No. I did stay in Kiev for a couple days. I almost forgot about that, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I did stay in Kiev for a couple days.
To make a fine point. When, I just think about it, like, it's craziness. Like, I called you or I sent you a text when one of the boys on one of the other teams sent me a message, do you know Sam? And I was like, I didn't think it was Sam because he looked more of a man, like in the last picture, like it was a media picture, and he gained weight. Like he obviously gained weight. Like he was a skinny little, like, he was from Birmingham in England. He was just a kid. But he'd done a lot of things. He'd done a lot of crazy shit before he ever ended up on the teams. And how long he was on your team? How long did you know him?
He and I were, actually, before he was on my team, he and I were on the same team. I've known him since...
In Kharkiv?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I've known him a fucking while. I know his brother.
Okay, I never met him.
Yeah, his brother and I were on the same team. That's how Sam and I met.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good kid.
Real good.
Yeah, my best friend in the country.
You funny fucker.
He's he always had a good attitude, man. Even especially when shit was rough, he was always there to chat shit and fucking. I don't think there was a single thing ever got him down.
It kind of struck me because, like, I feel like a cunt because I got this thing on social media and everybody gets a taste of it. You guys have had a taste of it, everyone has, and it's like I get messages and people send me reels and memes that I don't even know, and it's like, I don't want to be up my own arse, but why the fuck are you sending me that? And then...
Well, we don't have social media.
No, but...
like our team does. This is the first, interview anybody on our team's doing.
Well, I appreciate it, but, he sent me a message on Instagram August 4th, and it was like, hey, Brandon, how's things? I sent you a screenshot of that. Like, I started crying a little bit. Like, it's the truth. Because I was like, I didn't even fucking see that. And he's someone who I know and I like. And, like, I remember teaching him how to drive in Lviv. It was an old fucking Renault shitbox blue van. He was learning how to drive a stick and on the cobblestone. And he was doing great. Like, he's a fast learner. Yeah. Was he like that with you guys? Like, he learned every weapon.
He thrashed our cars, though.
Yeah, but he couldn't. The only time I stopped him, we were going uphill. He stalled out on a hill in traffic. I was like, all right, hop over, let me take it. Yeah. But, like, I've not seen him since. And we talked a few times. He told me he was on the teams. And I was like, you've come a long way. And so it's kind of like, I learned this last year with one of the guys that came over. Would have met him. Same thing. One of the guys from Sweden died, and he went home, and I kind of felt like, oh, you left us. Like, not really, but half. I kind of half felt that way. And then when he came back, I was sick in hospital in Kiev, but I could have gone out to have dinner with him and shit. Like, I got Crohn's disease. It's pretty shit. But anyway, I didn't make time. So it's like, Sam is not the only person that I'm knowing here that I never seen the message, and then they're fucking, and I'm just gonna make more time. I say it, I'm gonna make more time for my friends. Yeah. I'll send you a meme. I'll send you a dick pic. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I love you, bro. I ain't got fuck all to talk to you about.
He would fucking send dick pics almost religiously too. One of my favorites is he was back at the apartment in Kharkiv, and he puts it in the fucking team group chat. Because, we were still working at the front. He was he was picking something up. Then he was another car or some shit. He was taking a bath with bubbles, and it's just his cock and balls floating at the top with all the bubbles cleared out of the way.
Work of art.
Work of art.
See, by the way, like that's a British soldier for you, by the way.
Yeah. Dick pics galore. He'd always walk around the fucking house naked too. It's fucking unashamed, that kid. He had nothing to be ashamed of either, you know, to be honest with you.
No. I don't imagine. It's always those skinny guys who are like hung as fuck.
Oh, what are you trying to say there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm fucking. I'm a string bean. What
So-
do you mean?
You guys were the only Legion guys I've ever given fuck all to, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
And I've always had a hard line, like if you're a foreigner, because so many bad guys came here, you know what I mean, and they're gone and they did their thing. But I know you, and I know some others, and there's a couple guys in the teams. Like, you can always ask if I can do it, I will. But my thing has always been Ukrainians.
Yeah.
It's like why we came here. And I told you I was going to give you one. It's a 35 mil. And why I think it's good for you, especially. You got your personal, you're rocking a Bren. You could make do with a 19 mil, but with a drone team, and in Kherson, I've done it myself, 800 meters, we're seeing, we can pick up a Mavic. And it's the first time you see it, you won't know what you're looking at, but then once you see it, I told you, it's like a white sperm swimming across the sky. If it's on white hot mode, depends what mode you're on.
Oh, I'm gonna keep it in that mode.
Yeah,
now.
it won't
I'm
work.
A dirty little bastard.
But it's ideally we should have thermal imagers, but this is Ukraine.
Yeah.
And the 35 mil has the resolution that we're seeing the drones. And it could also be if you can figure out how to put a Picatinny on a one of my drone guns, if you ever need one, that we've cracked the code now in Kherson. So I'll keep fundraising, but down the road if you need one.
Yeah, and that drone gun does have, from the test you did, and you were saying it's actually everything it's supposed to be. I'm
just saying, like publicly, I'm saying we can stop a Mavic at least a kilometer, maybe more, but I need more feedback. So it's like, I only know 3 drone teams. So I need the guys in Avdiivka, I need you to tell me anecdotally how it's working. And also, when another guy gets one, it's like, go talk nerd to my other nerd friends. Because the guys in Avdiivka, like, they're like you, I trust them. They don't want me spending money on something for them that they think might not work.
Yeah.
But in Kherson it's working, but the tactical considerations and technical considerations are different in every AO. Right or wrong?
No, it's 100%. You know, you face different
guy.
threats out here in Bakhmut than you would in, you know, Kremina or even down in fucking Zappo, right? Like down during the fucking around the push around Rabitne and stuff. It's a completely different situation than what we're doing out here.
I imagine down there it would be very tight.
From what I hear, it is.
Like those FPV guys could be less than a kilometer from you. Possibly.
Possibly. You know, I don't actually know anybody, or at least I don't think. Let's put it better. I'm not in contact with anybody that I know of that's down there working right now, so I can only speak kind of anecdotally from what I've heard, second, third, fourth hand.
Rumors, yeah. And they count as nothing here.
Yeah.
It's always good to be most pessimistic with your planning.
Pessimistic, exactly. I always try and read between the lines a little bit and then assume it's worse than what they're actually saying it is. It hardly ever has it been better than what they say it is. I've been surprised a few times though.
Yeah.
3 times.
Sometimes there's good shit that comes out of here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring you back to the most famous man in the Legion.
Who's that?
Fucking Aussie.
Oh
prick.
yeah. Zelensky's hero. Yeah.
Yeah, Zelensky's hero. Maybe I'll have a look. He's got quite a few interviews on now and stuff, does he?
Apparently they were talking about him in Parliament. Yeah.
Well, he just mentioned the cool.
After a year, I guess it's time we finally start talking to people.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've learned, and as much as it causes like a disassociation in my own brain running a social media, but like there's people that care about Nika, who worked with me, my paramedic, like they love her, like people want to send shit to her, like equipment, they want her to be all right. One of my best mates, Max from Avdiivka, when he got blown up, he gave me the videos. He's like, make some money out of this, you know what I mean, like for your stuff, because I kitted out all their squad, And him and I've been through some shit together. But there's another guy who has a YouTube channel, who's National Guard. He's a press officer who's always out on like interviewing the different units. When I showed a picture of Max's side, all the little mini shrapnel, they all started panicking that it was their Max, who's got like 100,000 followers, because Ukraine followers on YouTube follow the other channels. Oh my God, that's not Max Turan, is it? And they've never met him in real life, but they know he exists. They worry for his welfare. It's kind of like the worry about they can't care about you if they don't know you exist.
Yeah, well, you know, we've been getting...
There's a fine line between OPSEC and this is Ukraine. We need support.
Yeah, you know, I think for me personally, being a Marine, I like to make do with less. I'm kind of a sadistic bastard, and that's why we're all here.
Yeah.
You know,
I like my Swedish aid, by the way. I'll do with more of these are so soft, by the way.
Yeah.
Free from Sweden.
Fuck, I might steal that.
I can hook you up.
Yeah. No, our thing was like we had a small network. We've had a small network for the longest time. Sam, you know, everybody knew Sam. Yeah. And he was kind of our line to the outside world, because he knew everybody. He was always so social, always checking up with people. I'm the complete opposite, man. If you're not in my immediate vicinity, there's very few people that will still check up on them. That's just who I am. It's not that I don't care about individuals. I only have so much bandwidth.
Really?
You know, so I forget where I was going with that. Oh, right. We've had enough stuff. We actually have. You'd be pretty proud. We've done really well for ourselves. We got a fair amount of cool kit.
Nice.
And we're actually a really good spot. I'm mainly doing this just for you, to help you out, give you some material and content so you can keep doing what you're doing. You're one of the few guys I fucking actually appreciate.
You're easy on the eyes and the camera.
Well.
No, I just really appreciate it because I'm now in a position, I am going to go help a Belarusian, and I was asked to help a Belarusian by one of the Swedish teams who support me, and I said to him, and the Belarusians, that's different kind of security. They do have to wear a mask because they got family back in Belarus. That's obvious. But I said to him, he speaks good English. I said, please put on the scarf and sunglasses. Like last year, I was giving people stuff, but if they didn't want to take the picture or no accountability, I wouldn't help them again. Yeah. Like there was an American nurse with 20 of my radios. Where did they? I know she didn't steal them, but it's like, I need to show people 20 fucking radios times 400 euros. That can't just go missing on my social media. Like no one's tracking it. But now I'm at the point, it's like, I can't give you if you won't give me, not me acknowledgement, but accountability. Because I have to build, now that I'm back in Ukraine, I'm still getting good support, but not where it was. I have to build it back up again. And it pays for the next guy. It pays for the next guy's kit that you don't even know. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And, again, like, you're one of the few orgs that, we've dealt with quite a few different organizations. I'm not going to name any names.
I'm not an organization. I'm just fucking me.
Well, you know what I'm saying. NGOs, people trying to help out. Again, I'm not going to say names because I don't play the politics. I just like to sit here and do my job. And but they're not always doing the right thing. The kit that they're giving out isn't always what they say it is. I've seen level 4 plates that are mild steel with literally a yoga mat, glued to the back of it. I've seen tourniquets that are like for training, they're weak plastic Chinese garbage. And those people we stay away from. We blackball and we spread the word that they're asinine individuals. You're one of the ones that we like, man. And
I'm just
all the support that you can get. Yeah, everybody's just a guy, man. It's
no, but like, who would have thought you came here to do what you did? You're a team leader. You're responsible for.
I'm not team leader anymore.
Oh no,
No, because I'm switching teams.
You're switching teams, but like
because the boys are going somewhere else, and I have to stay here for like I told you.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, I didn't have any social media because I thought, you got to be like, there's something honorable in just being. I started Instagram to fundraise for helmets for our fucking team. That's all it started for. And then one YouTuber Johnny gave me $2,000, and I told the team commander because I thought that was like you're a religious man. I'm in a 12-step program, but you know about like spiritual practices.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not my money. I brought it to the team commander. Like, what should we do with this money? And she's like, Brendan, we need 4-wheel drive. And she's just poor little village girl from Poltava. She doesn't understand money, the difference between a helmet and a car.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll whore myself out on the internet for a car. But now it's thermal scopes and night vision and do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's get you back to the guy. I've got to go visit another guy who's on one of the teams, also an American, and he was in hospitalers with us for over a year, and now he's with you guys. And his code name, I don't know if you watch Trailer Park Boys, he always goes, it's a joke, he's Trevor Leahy. Do you ever watch Trailer Park Boys? Whenever the cops are after Ricky, he always tells them, yeah, I'm Trevor Leahy. And anyway, you never watched Trailer Park Boys.
I'm sorry, man.
You're not Canadian.
I'm not.
I thought Americans liked Trailer Park Boys.
I mean, a lot of Americans do. I'm sure I've heard it plenty of times. I'm not one of those Americans that watches TV, dude. Like the whole time I was back home, like I said, I was working outdoors, hanging out with the girls, taking them
shooting guns,
going kayaking, going camping and stuff. You know, fuck watching TV, man. That shit's for the birds.
It's for Donbas if you got a Starlink, if you're so lucky.
Even then, I don't fucking, you know me, man. All I do is work.
You just look at positions.
I'll sit there and just stare at the map for hours on end, man.
Yeah, see, that's why you were a leader. With the other boys, when they're just sitting down all racked up, all sorted, they're looking at other kind of positions. Oh. Like, I gotta go, let's get out of here. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, man.
Go on. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yes, sir.